It was the controversial decision to lock down 9 public housing towers, and the thousands of residents who were effectively imprisoned are now suing the Victorian government. They say they felt like they were in jail. Now they want compensation and an apology.
I've never known anything like this in my 83 years, never.
Daniel Andrews' government treated us like donkeys.
I love Australia, and I know that I have a lot of opportunities for everything, for the school, for work, even for my kids, yeah.
We feel like we're animals because they didn't give us a notice or anything.
It was here 2 years ago that 3,000 public housing residents were detained without warning inside their own homes. COVID cases were rising and 9 towers like this one were put into a hard lockdown. These residents are now set to go head-to-head against the state of Victoria in court, claiming they were falsely imprisoned. Who could forget heartbreaking images like this? Residents pleading for basic supplies.
Mate, it's horrible. People are starving, being refused medical care.
Some screaming out while I was live on air back in June 2020.
And they'll be able to look out and see people. Is there someone yelling at you from that building, Sam?
So this is where you were all living?
Yes.
How many people?
Well, 5.
In this small space?
Yeah.
What was that like for an entire week?
It's very hard.
Ayan Taher was stuck with her family on the 13th floor in one of Melbourne's Flemington Towers.
I have a 1-week-old baby, and then I don't have milk, I don't have nappy.
Ifra Ahmed had 6 children in a cramped unit and was in dire need of supplies.
We just stand in the window and we're just looking, and we can't, all we see is police everywhere, and the kids were frightened.
We still think about it because we still have that fear like it might be happening one day.
Malibrahan Worko says she came to Australia for a better life.
We thought that we were in jail because we saw all that police. We thought like, did we do any criminal stuff,
Victoria's Ombudsman ruled the lockdown of the Flemington and North Melbourne towers violated human rights, but Premier Daniel Andrews refuses to say sorry.
They're suing the state, they're suing every taxpayer, and I'm not going to say anything that jeopardises the interests of the state.
Just because we live in here, it doesn't mean that we're not human beings, So we need him to apologise to us.
Mohammed Yusuf agrees.
It's still like yesterday for us. We don't know if it can be again tomorrow, if the same thing. That's why a lot of people moved out.
These neighbours are among 3,000 residents, part of the landmark class action. But the wheels of justice are turning slowly. While legal action was launched in March last year, it won't be until September next year when the case goes to trial.
There's never been such a claim like this before in the state of Victoria.
John Karantzis is head of personal injury law at Carbone Lawyers. While he's not directly involved in this case, he says it's unprecedented.
If the claim succeeds, each plaintiff, which could easily be 3,000 people, could win in the vicinity of maybe $50,000 to $100,000 each.
People do want to move on, we want to move on, but there's a lot of, a lot of people are scarred from that case where we were locked down.
The tower residents aren't the only ones taking legal action. 65,000 Victorian business owners are part of a second class action, and it could cost Victorian taxpayers billions.
It was diabolical. It was crippling.
Sophia Bazil owns hair salon Unico.
Second store was in the CBD, and that was established over 30 years ago. And when the pandemic hit and we were locked down, I couldn't continue there. Within a month, it was gone.
This is their only avenue to call upon those who caused you harm to make good and compensate you for that.
Damien Scatini from Quinn Emanuel is leading the class action. Already on board, restaurant owner Katerina Bossato.
we're still living it, and the chance to play catch-up is impossible.
And restaurateur Stavros Konis.
I know myself, I'm hanging on, and I don't know if I'll be able to hang on. It depends how this summer goes and how much we can catch up.
So it's bricks and mortar businesses who, as a consequence of the second lockdown in Victoria, were not able to have customers, clients, patients, call them what you will, attend their premises during that 4-month period.
Victoria's second lockdown lasted 112 days, caused by the botched hotel quarantine program that let the virus escape.
But having assumed the responsibility to operate hotel quarantine, they had to do so reasonably competently. No more, no less, but we say they failed dismally.
Damien says the Victorian government has repeatedly tried to have the case thrown out.
I haven't actually sat down and calculated the losses I have had. I kind of really, it's hard at the moment to do that because you get very angry and it's very sad.
It shouldn't really be that hard for Dan Andrews to say sorry. Those families were put through all sorts of pain. Details on how to join the class actions are on our homepage.